Today we're honored to be joined by Lady Justice Joyce Aluoch, a trailblazing jurist and an international recognized mediator. She's a former judge and a first vice president of the International Criminal Court in The Hague, and has served on the bench for a total of 44 years, 35 in Kenya and 9 at the International Criminal Court. She now serves as a full-time mediator both in Kenya and around the world. She's a seasoned mediator and a distinguished member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitration Kenya branch, where she also serves as a member of the Professional Review Conduct Committee. With a career dedicated to justice, diplomacy, and conflict resolution, she brings unparalleled insight into the art of mediation and the pursuit of peace. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Resolution Room. And I'm Deborah Gishiru, your host. It's such an honor, and I'm so excited for this conversation. So come along as we welcome Lady Justice Joyce Aluoch. Welcome, Justice.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for making it and coming, and we're so excited for your journey. When I look around, first of all, we have to start from the very beginning. I think that your journey is impeccable, and I think sometimes people look at the end and forget the beginning of something. So from the very beginning, how did you get into law? Was the legal field always something that you saw yourself into, or there was always an alternative?
I'll tell you a very short story that you may not believe, but it's true. When I completed my A-levels at Limuru Girls' School, it was December and it was the holiday, and my father was here in Nairobi. Originally, he had been in the field, in the public administration and in the field. But he had retired from the field and he was now a member of the Public Service Commission. So he was here in Nairobi and we were supposed to go back to the village. All our Christmas holidays were in the village. So one evening he told me that tomorrow morning when I'm going to work, you'll come with me, so get ready early enough. Those were the days you didn't ask your father questions. Today, even my grandson, my granddaughter, they will question me. So I did get ready very early the following morning. And he said, good, you did well, get into the car. After that time, I don't know where we are going to. And I didn't ask. So he lived on Gong Road, somewhere opposite the Baptist church. There was, I believe there's still Baptist church. Mm-hmm. The houses opposite that church were government houses. So he was driving himself. So he drives, and we are going down Gong Road. Yeah. And, that part, if you branch, you can go straight to Nairobi Hospital.
Yes.
Now, there was always a small signboard, Kenya School of Law. Mm-hmm. So when I saw my father branch, I wondered, where is he going? Yeah. Where are we going? That signboard is there, and if you go straight, you would go to the hostel. So he branched again and actually got into Kenya School of Law. And I was so amazed. Mm-hmm. Up to that time, I'm not even asking him, Dad, do you know anybody here? So he parked the car, and he said, we have arrived, let's go. So we went, and then in offices, when you go into offices, it's written principal, what? Yeah. Most government offices, yeah. Or maybe most offices. So he walked, and then the door was written principal. And he opened the door. Mm-hmm. And the lady, those days they were secretaries, now I'm told they are PAs. Yeah. was sitting there. Yes. So he told the lady, is this the principal's office? Mm-hmm. And the lady said, yes. And the principal was Mr. Tudor Jackson. So he had my father's voice. My father was very tall and, heavily built. Yeah. So Mr. Tudor Jackson heard my father's voice, and he opened his door and came out. He said, yes, I'm the principal, and my name is Tudor Jackson. Please come in. So my father went in and I followed him. Up to that minute, I don't know why we are there. Mm-hmm. So my father looked, he touched his, I'll never forget, he touched his watch and he told Mr. Tudor Jackson, I'm Mr. E.O. Josiah, this is my daughter. Mm-hmm. She has just done Form 6 exams, and I know she's going to pass the exam. So I don't have time. I'm going to work. I leave her here because I want her to be a lawyer. That was the first time I heard that I was going to be a lawyer. I was so shocked. So Mr. Tudor Jackson said, okay, Mr. Josiah, I'll walk you to the... He said, no, the business here is my daughter, not me. I know where I park the car, I'll walk, and I go back to the car. And he did, and left me with the principal of the Kenya School of Law. I was so shocked, I just sat down.
What?
So he saw that I was shocked. So he asked me, Mr. Tudor Jackson, if you read about him, you'll know what kind of person. He was so comical. And he was the principal of Kenya School of Law. So he asked me, you look shocked. I said, yes, sir, because I have never known or heard that I'm going to be a lawyer until now. So he just laughed and said, oh my God, I've never gotten a student as easily as this, brought by her own father. Now that is the process that ended in me becoming a lawyer.
Wow, that's amazing. So before that, that moment, what was in your mind in terms of pursuing your career?
I just thought there was time. I had time to think.
Yeah.
I wasn't in a hurry to think of what I was going to do, what my career would be.
Yeah.
To be honest, I had not given it a thought. I had just done Form 6. And I thought there was so much time, isn't it?
Yeah.
But as you can see, my father thought differently.
Yeah.
We joined Kenya School of Law and transferred. The faculty of law was now opened at the University of Nairobi.
Yeah.
And eventually we transferred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why the bench and not practicing?
Now, when I completed my law degree, of course, we had to come back to the Kenya School of Law for professional studies, professional qualification that ends up in you being admitted as an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Those professional studies are from the Kenya School of Law.
Yeah.
So by the time I completed that, and my pupillage, I did my pupillage at the Attorney General's chambers. I still remember who the Registrar General was. He was Mr. Coward. That was that time. He was Mr. Coward, and the Attorney General was Charles Njonjo, the late Charles Njonjo. So when I completed my pupillage, the Kenya degree, of course, I had finished pupillage. I finished. Then I used to read about. I would follow cases, and I used to read about Effie, Justice Aluoch. I used to read about her decisions, and then I said, well, why not?
Yeah. So
then positions were advertised, and these were the lowest positions in the judiciary. They were called District Magistrate Grade 2, DM2, DM2, District Magistrate 2. That was the lowest rank. But I applied. All the same, I applied. Because I said, since my father wanted me to be a lawyer, there must have been a reason why. So I applied. And during those early years, this was before independence, there were only 4 Africans who were district commissioners.
Yeah.
4 Africans only. And they were trained, and they used to sit as magistrates.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether that is where my father got this idea. So I applied when those positions were advertised, I applied, and I was called for an interview. I think there were about 6 or 7 of us. Yeah. And the day that I was going for the interview, I thought about it and I said, I normally read the name of a woman magistrate. Maybe before I go for that interview, perhaps I better call on her. So it was the interviews, I think, were beginning at 2:30. So I decided to call on her. I had never met her. We had never met. So when I went I didn't know where. I had never been to that. No, I went to that judiciary during the program. There was second year in university, there was a clinical program where students went to the courts, and that's the only time I ever entered that building. So I asked one of the ladies who was cleaning the corridor, and I said, where can I get where is the office of so-and-so? She was the only woman magistrate, and she was a senior resident magistrate. So the lady asked, she looked at me and asked me, unajua eh? I said, no, I've never met her. Okay, haya, tuende juu. So it was second floor. And she left me there. She says, sasa enda peke yako. Anakuanga mkali saa ingine, enda peke yako. Sorry. I've told her this many times. Because we've remained very good friends. Yeah. So I knocked the door. I knocked a second time, and then I heard her voice, come in. So when I went in, she looked at me. She didn't know me, and I didn't know her. She looked at me, and then she said, and what can I do for you, young lady? I looked at her, and I said, may I sit down? She said, yes, sit down. So I told her, I've been called for an interview. So she asked me, what interview? She said, for DM2 professional. She said, really? So she moved her chair to come near where I was sitting. So we started talking. So she told me, they're going to ask you many questions, but I think I can only talk to you about one question, which I believe they will ask you. Mm-hmm. So I said, and which one is it? They are going to tell you that they have only got one position for a DM2 in Maralal, or she said Maralal or Lodwar. So I told her, no, I can't go there. She said, we are meeting for the first time, and she told me, don't be silly. Say yes. I said, but I can't say yes because I've got 2 young children. Yeah. She said, just say yes. Should they accept you and send you to that place, Maralal, now we will be 2 and we will fight it. Mm-hmm. That's the first day we are meeting. We had never met before. Wow. So, and she told me, I'll wait here in my chambers here until you come back. So I went for the interview, and the entire Judicial Service Commission, of course, they were all men. There was no woman in there. And at that time, I'm talking 1974. Yeah. I don't think any of you were born. Not yet. At that time, the chair of Public Service Commission was the chair of Judicial Service Commission. And I still remember his name, Mr. Koitie. Yeah. He was the one chairing. And what really, when I think back, during the course of that interview, none of them called my name. Yeah. All of them, whenever they want to ask me a question, they would say, and young lady, this and this, young lady. Sometimes I felt I was getting a bit upset because I wanted to tell them that my name is so-and-so, but they never mentioned my name. They kept on asking, young lady, this and this. So anyway, it's the chair himself now who asked me, you have answered our questions very well, but now I have a question for you. We have got only one vacancy for a DM2 in Maralal. So I held my breath. Would you take that position? It's the only place where we need a DM2. I said, yes, I'll take it. And I saw all of them looking at me. I said, yes, I'll take it. So he said, I'm glad that you'll take it. And young lady, how would you get there? I told them, I have a car, I can drive. The entire room burst into laughter. They laughed. They really laughed. So he told me, young lady, you can't get there. What time would you leave Nairobi? So I'm also a bit careful now. I said, maybe 6. He said, even if you left at 6, you wouldn't get there. You would probably get there the following day. So he asked me, try again. How would you get there? Say, maybe, probably I'll take a bus. They laughed again. He said, that is even worse than you driving. So he told me, 3rd time. I said, then probably I'll take a train. This time they rode. We said there's no train going there. So they said, okay, I hope we haven't put you off, but you'll hear from us after a week or so. That was the day that I went for my interview.
Wow.
But after the following week,
Yeah.
I got a call, and they said, your letter is here, you have been accepted, you passed the interview as a DM2 professional.
Wow.
Yeah.
So from DM2 to now the High Court to now the Court of Appeal, what is a significant moment that happened for you in that journey for you?
Many, many. I started my judicial career in the juvenile court. There was only one juvenile court at that time. Then I worked my way. After 2 years, I was brought back to the main building. I was in the traffic court. I got my promotion, fortunately, quite quickly as a resident magistrate. And eventually as a senior resident magistrate, and then I was posted to be in charge of Makadara Court. I was the resident magistrate in charge. And many, 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 many things. In fact, of course, I did so many cases. And whilst I was a high court judge, I think one case that stands out for me, because it could have changed my life, and it could have cleared me. It was court recess. And you know, during court recess, normally one judge, during that time, I don't know about now, during our time, only one judge would be on duty for at least a week. So I happened to be on duty during that period as a high court judge. I'm on duty and the court is on recess. So I would go early to the office because I'm reading the files. There's no other judge. So when I was reading the files, I noticed that one file was a Mombasa file. So I told my court clerk, I said, Muli, this file is not a Nairobi file. It's a Mombasa file. They've just put a cover to make it a Nairobi file. Can you go and call the registry? I want to know why. This is court recess. There must be a judge in Mombasa. Why should this file be brought to me? So the registry came and said, Judge, this matter was brought this morning, and I have 2 investigating officers from Mombasa. They are out here. I said, can you call them in? So I looked at them and I said, I'm querying why a Mombasa file is here. And they said, Judge, this suspect, we are not able to handle his case in Mombasa. I said, why? Who is he? I said, anyway, the file is here, but tell me, who is he? That was Ibrahim Akasha. If any of you ever heard about him, he's now deceased. So I said, what do you mean that his file is not being handled in Mombasa? He said, Judge, every time we have arrested him and we have taken the case to the court in Mombasa, we've never received any, we've never gone far. And so what we have, Judge, if you don't mind, what we have a family out here. We have a husband, a wife, and 2 boys. And the 2 boys, I think they were maybe 8 and 9 or 10. They are even in pajamas. I said, really? What happened? So I said, bring them in. Are they on their own? He said, no, they are with a very young lawyer. I said, okay, just bring them in. I want to see. So as they came in, indeed, they came in with a young lawyer. Today is no longer a young lawyer. This is Donald Kipkorir.
Yeah.
He was representing them. He was representing them. And I said, okay, I've accepted this is a Mombasa file, but it's here. So he gave me the history. He said, Judge, this is what happened to this family yesterday. I was not in Mombasa, but they came to Nairobi, so I'm their lawyer, I'm representing them. The suspect went to their home. I do not know what could have happened, the deal gone sour or something. He ordered them out, and these children had just had dinner. They were going to sleep. You can see them, they're in pajamas, which is true. They were going to sleep. They had just had their dinner, and they were ordered out of the house. He locked the house, he asked for the keys of their vehicles, and he also locked the gate. So they all walked to the police station, and that's where the story started. And I think the police made the decision to travel with them at night. They took a bus and traveled at night, and in the morning, now a file was opened, and that's how we are here. So I handled that matter, and quite interesting. I handled the matter in the sense that I was very slow, or never really gave ex parte orders. Ex parte order is an order you give when the other side is not there.
Yeah.
But in my view, the circumstances were so grave that I gave an ex parte order.
Yeah.
That wherever he is or whoever he is must undo everything that he did in that home so that this family could go back. But I said, all the same, this is an ex parte order. The following day, I want to see him here.
Yeah.
So, I finished that. Yeah. So as if there are press people here. The following morning, you can guess what was in the headlines. But that I had never known I'd never even heard of that name anyway. I was doing my work. So the following morning, I go to court early because I'm the only judge and the files are many. So somebody came. My court clerk told me that somebody knocked on the door, and I told Muli, just go and check. So and Muli said, Ma'am, it's a lady. I said, tell her, this is the wrong time. I'm the only judge on duty, and look at the files that I have. I have many files, and I'm going through them. So Mulis went out and came back and said, Judge, she insists and she begs if you can see her. I said, okay, bring her in, but tell her I'm going to see her for only less than 5 minutes. So when she came in, she told Muli, of course I knew her. When she came in, I saw her, I knew her. So she requested, Judge, do you mind, can your clerk go outside? I said, my clerk go outside? No. He's attending to me, he can't go outside. He said, but Judge, what I wanted to talk to you about something. I said, if you can't say it when he's here, when Muli is here, then don't say it. So she said, all right, Judge, I just wanted to tell you that yesterday you had a case. I said I had cases, correction. I'm the only judge on duty, so I had cases. He said, okay, Judge, one of the cases you had was of Ibrahim Akasha. I said, yes, the file is here. Are you I didn't know you were a lawyer. Are you appearing for him? He said, Judge, no, I'm not appearing for him. I'm not a lawyer, as you know, but I've just come to tell you that he is not well. He's sick and he's not well. And according to the newspaper, you want him today. So I cannot tell you what triggered me, but I saw something beyond what was going on in this room. Yeah. And I just got up from my chair. Normally, I would ask Muli, go and open the door. I got up from my chair, I opened that door wide, and I said, is there anybody here who has come in for the case of Ibrahim Akasha? I did it myself, and I said it because I saw something that, in my view, was not right. So, of course, Mr. Kipkorir was there with his client, and on this side, there were 8 very senior lawyers. So as they were coming in, I remember asking them, are you all appearing? He said, yes, Judge, we are all. There were 8. And the young lawyer, he was really, must have been one of his early cases. He was a young lawyer. And he had this family. So when they came in, he said, Judge, we are appearing for Ibrahim Akasha. I said, okay, let me see. All of you are lawyers. Where is he? He said, Judge, he's not here. I said, he's not here? I said, okay. So I told them, this lady came in and she was telling me something about him not being here. So I'm going to request her to repeat what she was telling me. So she kept quiet. I said, please go ahead and repeat. The lawyers are here. She didn't repeat. So I said, okay, since you are not able to repeat, maybe I'll release you so that you go out. You can see what I saw. I saw something that was not right. So anyway, after she had gone, so the lawyers, the 8 lawyers, of course, I'm not I mentioned Donald's name because I think he played a very crucial role. He was a young lawyer, newly qualified, really. So the lawyers told me so and so is our senior. He's taking the lead, and we have given him the permission to talk to you, to you, the judge. So they talked, blah blah, everything, and they said, Judge, from the orders you gave, we want to make a very big request. I said, no, we haven't reached there yet because I'm still I want to see who this Akasha is. Yeah. Because I was told he's sick, he's in hospital, and what I'm saying now is that we are all going to Nairobi Hospital now because I must see this accused person. We are going now. So the lawyers started pleading and said, Judge, we beg you, just give us only up to tomorrow morning so that some of us here are going to go to Mombasa and make sure that everything that was undone is done so that we can come back. And then I said, and your client? He said, Judge, we are going to do everything, and we want to undo what he did, and then we bring him. So anyway, it happened that the following day, we were talking on a Friday. So I think we were talking on a Thursday. So the following day was Friday, like today. So they came back, the lawyers came back, they showed me the photographs, everything that Akasha did. They went and undid it, and they said, this is the house, these are the vehicles, these are the keys, this is everything. Yeah. So I said, okay, on Monday now, unfortunately I will not be on duty because my duty ends today, and the judge who is here now can take over. Yeah. And by that time, they said, Judge, in the meantime, we have gone and made sure that these 2 young boys, we bought clothes for them so that they are comfortable. We have put all of them together with the parents in a comfortable place because since it's our client who is alleged to have done this. Fine. So I forgot about it, like you do, we do so many cases. I forgot about it. About 2 months after that, one day, lunchtime, I'm going out. I went out of my office and I went for a walk. Yeah. I mean, really.
Why not?
Yeah. So I went up to, I don't know what that building, I can't remember the name. So coming from that building, Old Mutual. Yes. Okay. Coming from Old Mutual, I'm walking across, and there was a restaurant somewhere there. There was a coffee place.
A coffee, like a cafe.
Yeah. And I was walking across the road. I'm going to see my friend Wairimu. Wairimu Magugu was a good friend of mine, and she had a shop, Domel Gowns. I was going there. So when I'm just about to step on the, stepped on the pavement, because I'm walking across, I hear a voice, excuse me, Judge. I ignored it. And he said, excuse me, Judge Aluoch. Now that my name came out, I stopped and I looked back. Yeah. And I saw this person whose face was not familiar. So he said, Judge Aluoch, I'm called Ibrahim Akasha. I stopped you when I was sitting in that coffee place and you passed. Somebody said, that's Judge Aluoch's passing. And the minute somebody said that, I got up. Because you are the only judge who has ever made an order against me. And I was anxious to see you. That's why I followed you. So I did this. He said, oh, no. Yeah. You don't. I screamed a bit. Yeah. And he said, no, you don't have to scream because today I'm not armed. So Wairimu Mrs. Magugu had me, and she came out. Yeah. So I said, Wairimu, Akasha is killing me. So Akasha said, I've already assured her that today I walked without my pistol. I'm not armed. Yeah. So, people started gathering. I have not entered inside the shop. We are still on the veranda. Yeah. And they are long. So things started happening. And before I realized, the commissioner of police arrived, Shadrach Kiruki, arrived. I was surprised. So he arrived and he came and he said, Akasha, I have just been telephoned that you are killing Judge Aluoch. He said, sir, I promise, I've already assured the judge that I'm not armed today. So.
The today.
So anyway, they took him, went with him, and I stayed with my friend for a few. And the two policemen said, they're in plain clothes. They said, we are not leaving until when you are ready, we'll walk you back to the court. You know, it's so close to the court. I said, I can walk. He said, no, we are going to walk with you up to your office.
I bet you have so many stories because your journey is so long. You know,
but that one stood out because if he kept on saying he was not armed, which means if he was armed, I would never have been here.
That's true. Yeah.
And it's after I had handled his matter, it's when I realized he was a big drug baron.
Yeah.
He was, so many people were scared of him. But me, I was performing my duty as a judge. Yeah. Integrity can be expensive, isn't it?
It's true,
It can be very expensive, integrity. But that was my role as a judge, which I was playing.
You did it excellently and effortlessly because you moved there and then went now to the International Criminal Court.
The High Court, I stayed quite a bit of time, and then I was promoted to the Court of Appeal. At the time, that was the highest court, the Court of Appeal. The government nominated me.
Yes.
In those courts, and I think it's important to stress this, internationally, you cannot just apply that you are applying to go to that court. Court, ICC, International Criminal Court, International Court of Justice, all these international tribunals, the government of your country, your government nominates you, and then you go to New York for elections. All these courts, you get there by elections. For example, I was nominated by the Kenya government. I finally traveled to New York, and that was the battleground. Because for International Criminal Court or International Court of Justice, the difference between the two courts is ICC is criminal court. International Court of Justice is civil. It's, mostly border disputes and that sort of thing. So that is where the battlefield is. This UN General Assembly of States Parties to the Rome Statute, that was election. The states parties must elect the judges. And that year they were electing 6 judges because the other 6 had completed their term. And it's from different regions of the world. That year, Africa alone had 22 candidates, just from Africa. Different countries in Africa, there are 22 candidates. And then, of course, there were other regions. But thank God I was successful. I was elected.
That's amazing. So how was your transition then been from being at the bench to now being in mediation? What sparked the interest in mediation?
Let me put it this way. At the International Criminal Court, it's one term of 9 years. So when I had about 3 years or so to go, I started thinking about it that I've been making decisions, but by the time I finished, actually, from the time that DM2 professional thing up to the International Criminal Court, by 2018, I had sat and served on the bench for 44 years. That's what I accomplished, 44 years. So when I was at the ICC and I had about 3 years to go, I said I've been exercising justice where it's either wrong, you are either guilty or not. But there must be other ways of exercising justice. Cannot just be guilty or not. Because I had seen a lot during the whole of that period. And I said, and that's one thing. But also when I retire, in 2018 was my 9th year, would be my 9th year. So when I retire and I get back home, because after being at the ICC for 2 years, I had wanted to retire, but the president of the day said I had not reached the retiring age. But with time, I was eventually allowed to retire because you cannot be out of a government job for 9 years and come back to it. So when I eventually, I said to myself, when I eventually retire, what am I going to do? What do I feel like doing? Yeah. So together with my colleague, we were judges together at the ICC. She was from Botswana. We said, listen, let's have a plan. When we go back home, what are we going to do? And we both settled for it that now let's continue to do justice, but not so that one party wins and the other party loses. Yeah. That's what we've been doing. So eventually we decided that we go for and train as arbitrators. We have 3 years to go. So my first training was as an arbitrator at the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators in London, because from the ICC, The Hague to London was like 40 minutes flight. Yeah. So, but that year the training was at Oxford University. So we went to train together with other people. Yeah. So that one thing you must never stop. Never stop training. Mm-hmm. You continue going. So we trained, we finished. Then we got our membership. We passed that. So now we have about 2 years to finish. And after my training, then I was able to sit at sessions with arbitrators at The Hague. Because in arbitration, when the parties don't mind, then you can sit in. So I did sit in too. And I said, I don't think this is what I want to do. This is what I was doing in the court for those years. Mm-hmm. Because, like examination in chief, cross-examination, re-examination. I said, I've done this for too long. I cannot continue to do this. There must be something else. Yeah. So then I got to get information when I was in a conference in Mauritius. Of course, Kenyans, ADR practitioners were there. There are many people, and they were the British. Mm-hmm. So we were not put with the Kenyans because we are still international. Yeah. But for some reason, we were put with the ADR team from London. Mm-hmm. And it was from them that I got the information. I remember one of them asking me that, are you a mediator? I said, no, but I'm an arbitrator. He said, why? I said, because I've trained. He said, no. In London is the oldest institute for mediators. Center for Effective Dispute Resolution is the oldest institute. And we are trained there. So we want you to train there. Because looking at you, we think you can make a very good mediator. Yeah. So we are in the bus going to the conference in the morning. So when I left, when we finished and I went back to the court, I told my colleague that, Sanji, I'm going to go further. And I want us to train as mediators. Because the first training as a mediator is 40 hours, accreditation. So I went back to London. I would accrue my leave. I went back, and I trained now as a mediator. Yeah. I was able to settle down to it. The only thing that when I eventually came back, 2018, I completed my term, and I eventually came back. Yes. And I first started my mediation at FIDA, because I'd never mediated before, so I wanted to see whether Yeah.
And right now, court annex mediation has taken such an amazing role in the judiciary because it's really allowed access to justice. How do you think that has really influenced the judicial system right now? And even
I think it has influenced it very positively.
Yeah.
It started when I was not here, though. Yeah. The pilot project 2016, I was at the ICC at The Hague. 2017, when it started, I was still at the Hague, but I kept in touch because the judiciary is the only place I have ever worked in this country. Before I went to the ICC, that's the only place I've worked. So I always kept listening to or finding out what was going on. Yeah. It has made in my view, it has made a lot of positive change in the judiciary. Case backlog is less than what it was. The cost of litigation and the fact that it has expanded. I think there are about 60 mediation registries around the country. Yep. And I think it has made very positive change, and it was a very good idea. And that's why in the last 2 years, when I was in South Sudan, that is 2022 2024, I was in South Sudan reforming the judiciary of South Sudan. I was together with a colleague, a retired Judge Ugola from Uganda, and we introduced this in our recommendations, court annexed mediation.
Wow.
We did all that work until 20th of December, just 5 days before Christmas, is when we were State House in Juba and handed over the report containing all the recommendations to President Salva Kiir. We have very strongly recommended court annexed mediation because we saw the positive impact it has had in this country, in our country.
That's true. And since you brought up South Sudan, how then do you think in mediation, African mediators can take up more space in the global peace building and also in commercial mediation?
Mediators should be trained. There's no point here we are sitting in this room and then something happens and I say, the two of you, can you go and mediate? You need to acquire skills as a mediator. These skills are perhaps in you, but a training brings out these skills.
Yeah.
And more and more Africans are being trained and gaining skills as mediators. But by the way, traditionally, Africans were always mediating.
That's true.
There were barazas. In fact, recently when I'm a patron of Women in Alternative Dispute, and we had moot court competition, and the chief guest we had 16 universities, three or four from out of Kenya, and our chief guest was Professor P.L.O. Lumumba, and he brought a chapter from the book by Chinua Achebe, Things Fall Apart.
Yeah.
In fact, I have it right here. Things Fall Apart.
Yeah.
Chinua Achebe. This chapter was given to me by P.L.O. Lumumba. And when you read page 93, is when you see how the Wazis used to settle disputes. It's all here.
Yeah.
And I was very impressed. So it is in us. But it's formalized. We need to formalize it. We need people to be trained.
Yes.
So that you can conduct mediations and align it. But even in South Sudan, I believe even here, there's still a lot of mediation going on at the village level. Yeah. I believe so.
Yeah,
in South Sudan, I can assure you, yes. Yeah. In fact, when you talk to people, you talk to them, I traveled the length and breadth of South Sudan. And you are in a meeting, and maybe during break or you're talking to them or at a meeting that, would you go to court? Would you take your matter to court? They will do this. Would you take your matter before the Wazis? So they understand, because that's the majority of disputes
go through that.
Go through. And yet, in South Sudan, the chiefs who conduct mediations, who conduct, who settle disputes, they are not under the judiciary. They are under the Ministry of Local Government. So the judiciary has no contact, no touch with them. And these are some of the recommendations, as we were making recommendations, we took care of things like that in our recommendations that are now already with the president himself.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Is mediation gender inclusive?
Yes, anybody can be a mediator. What I found in practice is that when it comes to family matters, I found people are a bit slow on unmarried mediators because they are saying, but they don't know what family is all about. Yeah. If the mediator is a lady, she's not married. Yeah. The mediator is a man, is not married. I found that families were a bit reluctant and saying that we are going to say things that they've never gone through or things like that.
That's so true. But I think mediation is something that has been in, as you say, it's something that has been in our culture. It's something that has been in us. And you're a patron of actually a really, really amazing movement. How did that come about?
By the time I came back from The Hague, and I started, because I didn't take too long before I started. I already had the training. So I wanted to put it into practice. Yeah. And that's why I started at FIDA, very good programs go there. And in FIDA, we do the mediation, you do it pro bono, because you are dealing with very disadvantaged members of the society. And then I'm a quota-next mediator, but I couldn't go on much because South Sudan took us 2 years. I would be here 2 weeks. I'm back in South Sudan 3 weeks. And now we are doing amazing things. We are building the capacity of young people. Yeah. And that's why we bring university students for a moot court competition. And the moot court is on a subject, like this year, it was on a subject of trade. And we are training them how to resolve disputes without going to court. Yeah. And we are hoping them, and we encourage them and hope that some of them will pursue these ADR mechanisms. We train them. Not every dispute you need to run to court. There are other ways of settling disputes so that you retain relationship, especially in business. You continue to retain relationships, and then we also tell them this is a voluntary. Mediation is voluntary, it's informal, until a settlement agreement is reached and signed by all parties, including the mediator. It's confidential, completely confidential, so that if we are I'm in a mediation session and I see you jotting, fine, but when the session is over, I'd like to have all those papers so that they are destroyed, because this is confidential. Mediation is absolutely confidential.
Yeah. How do you maintain impartiality as a mediator? How do you remain impartial? Mostly to like family matters and that are very sensitive and you can easily relate.
As a mediator, impartiality is key. In fact, you have an opening session where you explain to the parties what mediation is all about. Yeah. And you also make them know. First of all, you have to establish that you don't know any of these parties. Or if they have companies, it's a business dispute, you have nothing to do with the company, you don't know the company. There's only one time that lawyers surprised me, and it was one of the biggest mediation cases that I had done. It was on a family law, and it was on family law. And then I told them, then one lawyer told me that, Judge, you approved this. This was a dispute that had been in court for 9 years. Wow. So I signed this grant before I went to the Hague, when I was still in the High Court, not even the Court of Appeal. So I said, fine, if my signature is there, I signed the grant. Yeah. The grant was issued and assigned, then I will disqualify myself. We said, Judge, we showed this to our clients. There's no dispute on the grant you signed. The dispute is on distribution of the property. Yeah. So I left the lawyer for a minute and I asked the parties, because on this side were 3 sisters. I asked each one of them. He said, Judge, we don't have a problem with you as mediating because the grant was issued. We have problems with distribution. And on this side was their mother and their brother. So this was a proper family dispute. Yeah. It was their father who had died. So impartiality is key. Once you have explained how the process is working, and you assure them, and they see that you are actually doing what you said. Yeah. You assure them, we will go into private sessions, and during private session you can air your views, your concerns, and if whatever you disclose to me, I have to have your permission to tell the other side. If you don't say no, I will not do it. Once you explain the mediation process, people tend to feel that, that they are covered. Yeah. But you have to know what you are talking to them. You have to know what you are explaining to them. Just the process, how the process works. Yeah.
And people are more lenient, actually leaning towards mediation, But as a trainer,
because it works. Yeah. It works.
And it's more successful because it actually leads people more back to reconciliation, mostly in families, unlike the court setup where sometimes it actually moves them apart.
In mediation, it's a win-win situation. because the decision is made by these parties, not even the lawyers, not the mediator, not the lawyers. It is the parties who make the decision.
Yeah.
Even if there's concession, like this one was a bad family fight, and towards the end, we started at 9:15 in the morning. They had been in court for 9 years. Most of the properties were losing value.
Yeah.
And the man invested heavily. He was from here, from Kenya, from central Kenya.
Yeah.
He invested up to Homa Bay, he invested up to Kampala, and the properties were losing value. And, private session, you come back. In fact, sometimes in mediation, you have to just invent what can work. I would leave one party in here, and I told the girls, there were 3 of them. I told them, let's go and walk outside.
Yeah.
And when we were outside there, the lawyer is there, then we talk.
Yeah.
We are in a private session, but we are walking outside. I told them, let's go and walk in the sun. And these are the parties here. I said, give 10, 15 minutes. When I finish with them, I'll come back to you. So the parties gain confidence. The parties can see what's going on is real, isn't it? Yeah. And then you come back to this other side, and whatever they are telling me out there, they say, Judge, this one, no, don't tell them. No. I said, this one you can disclose.
Okay, sure.
So normally when we eventually come back to meet together, instead of me repeating it, I always now tell them, okay, when we were out, you disclosed some things to me, but I'd like you to say it. Now we're in a joint session.
Yeah.
So it's very natural. Mediation is natural.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah.
People gain confidence.
Yes.
And look at that family. They had not talked for 9 years.
Wow.
And the matter was in court. Okay, it took me time. I gave them 1 hour break to have lunch.
Yeah.
We continued. And the deal, it was coming. They would give concessions, this. And by 6, was it 6 or 6:30, we struck the deal.
Yeah.
And the young lady who was doing the typing, she waited. She was with us all along, not in the same room. So I told the parties, you just repeat. Let's just repeat.
Yeah.
Write it down on the board, because we always have a board.
Yeah.
So they wrote down everything. This settlement agreement was 3 pages. And finally, we were leaving that room at 7:45 p.m. We started at 9:15. They had been in court for 9 years. If mediation doesn't work, you tell me.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. It is successful and it does work.
It does work.
As a trainer and a mediator yourself, what advice would you give to upcoming mediators in the field?
As I've said already, please train. There's no point calling yourself a mediator when you need the skills. They are, as I said, they are probably within you, but training brings out your skills. Yeah. And be impartial, because when you don't train as a mediator, you don't know what you don't know what is required of you as a mediator.
Yeah.
You don't know how are you going to handle the parties if you haven't trained.
True.
And we also need to make mediation. We also need to make people more and more aware.
Yeah.
Like when I go home, when I'm in the village, I always talk to groups of women, or sometimes women and men. And it's like mediation is something being done it's in Nairobi or in Kisumu or... No, it's done everywhere. Mediation goes on everywhere.
Yeah.
We need to make people aware of the benefits of mediation.
Yeah.
That it works, it's a win-win situation, this is how it's conducted, and it saves time.
Yeah.
And it for business people, it puts something back, isn't it?
Yes.
Money that can be stuck
Yes.
in the courts for how long? It releases it, and it goes back to the economy.
Yeah.
And all these are benefits of mediation, really.
Thank you so much for joining us today and also sharing your insights. We really appreciate it, and we hope you're welcome for another session, most definitely. But thank you so much for having us today. And that we come to the end of our podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. See you guys next time on the Resolution Room podcast. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.